So today we're starting our Spirit Therapy course, and we're starting from the basics because it's the first time that many of you are taking part in this type of course. So first we want to focus on what Spirit Therapy is. What are the aims we want to achieve together in this journey? And what are the conditions to be able to do this Spirit Therapy journey together? These fundamentals are useful, both for those who are starting for the first time and for those who've been on the journey for a while, because it's always necessary, as in any worthwhile journey, to go back to the fundamentals. So what is Spirit Therapy? It's a journey to discover that wonderful potential, that immense potential that's present in our spirit. And it's a path, as we said, of self-knowledge and of healing of the heart through the art of loving. Today we read so many suggestions on how to strengthen our physical being. We see videos on TikTok that show us amazing feats of ability, and it's incredible to see what our bodies can do. There are courses, lots of them, that remind us of the importance of developing the potential of our brain, and they show us what amazing things our mind can do, and they remind us that we normally use only 5 or 10% of our brain. It's not yet agreed upon exactly how much, but definitely we use just a small part of the brain's potential. However, very rarely do we stop to identify the potential of the spirit, which is immense. And it gives us truly extraordinary opportunities to live our lives to the full. So in this journey, we want to find this potential, which is present in our being, to make it fruitful. And as I was saying, it's a journey of self-knowledge, because in our lives, we stop to learn so many things. For example, we study at university, at school. We hear 1,000 ideas, but we don't stop enough to get to know who is the travelling companion who accompanies us all throughout our lives, which is ourselves. So we want to take this path to get to know ourselves better, who we really are, beyond labels, beyond our profession, beyond living our daily routine. You know, as soon as you get a wound, if you don't disinfect it, it'll become infected, and there'll be consequences in our body. But hardly anyone helps us to recognize and to heal the wounds of the heart as soon as possible. And we're not aware of how much more devastating the wounds of the heart are for our inner health if they're left untreated. Much more devastating than the wounds of the body. So why do we need to have self-knowledge and healing of the heart? Because we want to begin to identify these wounds, those that have conditioned our person in depth, of which we're not at times aware. And above all, we want to find healing methods. On the art of loving, that's because we certainly all need to be fulfilled, and we've discovered that the fundamental need of every human being is precisely the need to give and to receive love. This is the fundamental need for our existence. But we think we know how to love, and we believe that loving is something we just learn. We're born, we learn to love. In reality, today, Due to consumerism, relativism, hedonism, we often confuse love with passion. We confuse love with possessiveness. And we forget that in order to love, we must also learn to lose many things about ourselves for the happiness of others. We're very focused on a happiness based on our own needs and on the recognition of our needs, and very little on the fact that the happier we make the people around us, the more joy comes back to us. So we want to make this journey of the art of loving not in a way that's simply me, Chiara, teaching us something, as I'm here simply to share with you some pearls of light that I discovered and which have been fundamental in my journey. However, primarily, this is about putting ourselves together into the school of the one who is love. I'm a Christian, and so I believe that God is love, and that the Lord of creation came to dwell among us to tell us things that are very important for our lives. But this is also for those who are not Christian, and those who see Jesus as a great prophet. So we start from the revelation in the gospel of some words of light, which I always say to the young people, as this helps us to find important answers for our lives. And this is how SpiriTherapy was born. As you know, I started many years ago, going into the streets to meet what I call the people of the night. And then I felt the desire to live with these young people we meet in the streets, who came from situations of real despair. And I felt the desire to find a way for each of them to overcome these terrible wounds which had not only scarred but had broken the hearts of so many who were part of my new family of the people of the night. And I was aware that not all of them, or rather none of them, would have been able to undergo the psychotherapy that they obviously needed, and that they wouldn't have had the financial means, the patience, or the constancy to do so. So I asked myself, what can we do? What can I do so that they too can experience the fullness of joy that I have discovered in my own life, thanks to living a spirituality? And so from life, as well as from the deepening of the relationship with the Word of God, this new pathway was born. And I realized that in our spirit there is immense potential, and even the key to living our lives to the full, and the key to healing the wounds that can condition us for our whole life. I tried to propose this process, which gradually took shape with life experience, to the young people who were welcomed into our community. And then many others wanted to take part. And I witnessed the extraordinary fruits that this type of path brought to the lives of all those who began to participate, whatever their life experience, even people who were apparently successful, but who were experiencing inner dissatisfaction, the sense of not being fulfilled in a complete way. And that's when I had the desire to offer a SpiriTherapy program to as many people as possible. And of course, being SpiriTherapy, like any good therapy, there'll be exercises that we'll do together every month so as to strengthen our spirit. And there will be questions that will help us to go deeper into the knowledge of the great mystery that each one of us carries within. Here then are some initial questions that I'd like to leave you with for this month. They're to be answered in writing today on the spur of the moment, but then to be worked on throughout the month, and possibly with the help of those who know us well, or in the sharing groups that we'll have. The questions I'd like to put to you are these. What is the potential of my spirit? What am I doing to make use of it? Who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? These are the fundamental questions of existence, but we don't find the time to ask them, to ask ourselves these again and again. Also, what are the wounds that affect me the most, that have also affected me since childhood? And what am I doing to heal them? What have I done to heal them? And what are the main obstacles that prevent me from giving and from receiving love? We can go back to these questions during the month, and let's make a commitment to discover and to put to good use the potential of our spirit. Let's do this exercise every day. Let's discover what the potential of our spirit is and ask how I can put it to good use, remembering our first word of light that can help us, a beautiful phrase of St. Paul. He says, "Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in us?" From the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3. In the light of this great discovery, we are God's temple and God's Spirit dwells in us. So let's allow ourselves to be reached by this word. Whether we have the gift of faith or not, we know that there's a divine spark within us, in our spirit. Let's try to discover this divine spark. This is a first commitment that we make together.